This is a breaking news alert from 24 Hour News 8.
Good morning. We're continuing our breaking coverage of a crane collapse at the Kent County Jail. Let's go straight out to Joe LaFurgey, who's following this situation on the scene. Joe?
Brett, I wanted to show you some of our first live pictures from the scene here at this collapse at the Kent County Jail. I'm going to step out of the way and show you that crane just behind me. You can see that crane. It appeared to have collapsed back on itself. You know, most cranes can fold their arms, and it appears it folded back onto itself onto that building. The good news here is it appears there is only one injury, and it appears that injury is minor to a construction worker. Still, they have evacuated much of the administrative end of the Kent County Corrections Complex, the jail complex here. We understand the inmates are okay, but some of the Sheriff's Department employees have been told to get out, and here's why. When that crane collapsed, it not only spread quite a bit of debris over here, but it also created an unsteady building, if you will, unstable buildings.
Let's go ahead and listen in here shortly as he is going to give us an idea and apprise us on what's happened here at the Kent County Jail. Once again, we've got a crane that collapsed in the area. Let's listen in.
John Hess from the Kent County Sheriff's this morning. About 9 o'clock this morning, during construction in the new portion of the Kent County Correctional Facility, we had a crane, the main crane that we've been using, fell over or collapsed into the new construction of the building. Immediately, we evacuated the area. Our initial concern was any danger to the community, surrounding area, and the employees in our building as well as employees in the construction site. I'm happy to report that there are no major injuries to any of the employees either working at the construction site or in our building.
Now to that developing news we brought you at the top of the hour here. 3 people suffered minor injuries after a construction crane collapsed at the Kent County Jail in Grand Rapids. In 24 Hour News 8's Joe LaFurgey has been on scene since just minutes after the crane collapsed, and he joins us now live with more on that. Joe.
Brett, I want to kind of set the stage for you. Now, we told you at the top of the hour, Under Sheriff John Hess telling us that crane, that big piece of crane you see collapsed there, it was working on taking buckets of concrete into the upper floors of what's known as the new portion of the jail, the newly under construction portion of the jail. Voters approving the funds for that just a short time ago. Hauling concrete buckets up to lay the flooring and that sort of thing, when some sort of cable on that crane failed or snapped or came apart.
All of a sudden the power went out and then there was a large crash. We all looked at each other and we knew immediately it was the crane.
All in all, this was the best case result.
A scary scene, but luckily no one was hurt when a 250-foot crane collapsed this morning.
It happened in a section of the Kent County Correctional Facility that was undergoing renovations. Our crews were on the scene within minutes, and tonight we are hearing from the man who was directing that crane and uncovering how dangerous these types of situations can be. 24
Hour News 8's Ken Kolker is live for us in Grand Rapids. Ken?
Brian, for the workers who were inside when this happened, there were some terrifying moments as that towering crane came tumbling down. We spoke to a worker who was directing the crane from the ground when it collapsed.
It was pretty scary, shaky.
Yeah.
We're lucky everybody's all right, so.
It happened about 9 this morning, the 250-foot high crane moving a load of wet cement for the new part of the jail, part of a $27 million expansion. Did it just start swaying or what?
Just collapsed. We don't know what the problem is.
A cable snapped and that cable struck one of his co-workers.
Just got a fractured shoulder, that's all.
That co-worker returned later in a sling, and it appeared he was being interviewed by a state safety inspector. As many as 10 people, construction workers and jail trustees, were in the area about 9 this morning when the crane collapsed, crashing into the addition.
It fell through the middle part there.
And into the old garage.
The workers that were in there said that they heard a little snapping, a couple maybe pipes breaking, and all of a sudden a loud boom.
The undersheriff says he was in a conference room not far away.
All of a sudden the power went out, and we sat there and we heard the loud boom, and we were pretty confident it was the crane.
Owens Ames Kimball is the contractor, but the crane was operated by G2 out of Cedar Springs. They were forced to move a couple of hundred inmates to a different part of the jail after the old section of the jail lost heat and power.
We want to get the message out to the community that the jail is safe, there is no breaches of security, it will not have an impact on any of our police responses.
Now, sheriff officials say they're still trying to determine exactly how much damage was done and the impact this would have on a project that already was 10 weeks behind schedule. Live in Grand Rapids, Ken Kolker, 24-Hour News 8.
Kent County voters approved a jail millage renewal in August of 2008 to make that renovation project possible. The work started in May of 2010.
We are getting an inside look at the structure that was damaged when a crane collapsed on it this morning. Happened around 9 o'clock at part of the Kent County Correctional Facility in Grand Rapids that's been under renovation.
Now, luckily, no one was seriously hurt in this. One construction worker and 2 inmate trustees did suffer minor injuries. Authorities say that a cable snapped, and that's what caused the crane to come crashing down. Crane accidents are reportedly among the most common construction site mishaps.
24-Hour News 8's Henry Erb is live at the Kent County Correctional Facility now with the big picture and the numbers. Henry?
Well, there are 2 or 3 crane accidents like this one every year in Michigan. Cranes are big, and when they crash, they attract a lot of attention. All you have to do is web search crane accidents, and you get 22 million results. We found that crane crashers even have their own website, craneaccidents.com, listing the latest mishaps from around the world. Crawler crane collapses due to poor setup. Workman rescued after crane flips backward. Crane collapse kills 5 in China.
Now to that crane collapse at the Kent County Jail. 3 people were hurt, no one seriously. We've learned the collapse, the crane that collapsed, it was moving a large tub of wet cement. One of the cables holding that tub apparently snapped. The renovation at the jail was already behind schedule, and this is apparently going to make things worse. Want to break it out a little bit and show you exactly where this happened. This is the jail complex here. The X marks the spot where the crane collapsed just north of the main jail facility. That main jail facility was not damaged during this collapse.
We want to take you live now to the Kent County Jail, and 24-Hour News 8's Ken Kolker spoke with the man who was helping direct that crane when it toppled. Ken's live now. Ken?
Brian and Sue, good evening. It happened right here behind me, and Jordan O'Connor was right in the thick of it, with that crane towering above him at one moment, then suddenly collapsing.
That was pretty scary, shaky. Yeah. We're lucky everybody's all right, so.
It happened around 9 this morning, the 250-foot high crane moving a load of wet cement for the new part of the jail, part of a $27 million expansion. Then it collapsed, the crane crashing into the new part of the jail and the old garage. Did it just start swaying or what?
Just collapsed. We don't know what the problem is.
A cable from the crane struck one of his co-workers.
He's just got a fractured shoulder, that's all.
Investigators say it appears that snapping cable is what led to the collapse.
It appears that possibly a cable broke on the crane, and subsequently it broke or fell apart or fell.
The question now is, what led that cable to snap? That's what state investigators were trying to learn today. As many as 10 people, construction workers and jail trustees, were in the area at the time.
It fell through the middle part there.
Workers and trustees in the garage scrambled.
Workers that were in there said that they heard a little snapping, a couple maybe pipes breaking, and all of a sudden a loud boom.
The undersheriff says he was in a conference room not far away.
All of a sudden the power went out, and we sat there and we heard the loud boom, and we were pretty confident it was the crane.
They were forced to move a couple hundred inmates to a different part of the jail after the old part of the jail lost heat and power.
We want to get the message out to the community that the jail is safe, there is no breaches of security, it will not have an impact on any of our police responses.
Now today, sheriff's officials were still trying to determine exactly how much damage was done in this collapse, and they're trying to determine what kind of impact this would have on a project that already was 10 weeks behind schedule. Live in Grand Rapids, Ken Kolker, 24-Hour News 8.